r/AskReddit asks, people living in small towns, what's the recent scandal? A teacher posted a link to a porn site on his website for classwork instead of the recent assignment, and got fired immediately. Apparently this wasn't his first offense. We have a tourist train, runs from town A to town B. It was a particularly dry summer and the train started a fire that spread over 75,000 acres. The town is now suing the train station for loss of income, as we are a tourist town and our income is solely based off of tourism, and no one wants to go tour a smoky town in Colorado. I'm not sure of the exact number, but I think it's in the ballpark of tens of millions of dollars. Drama class was interrupted by a cow giving birth in the field across from the school. My grandparents' small town has had a recent outbreak of teenagers riding horses through the middle of downtown, while wearing nothing but face masks. It has happened a total of 3 times now, always different kids, always different horses. During my sister's volleyball game, one of the super aggressive sports dads slapped someone else's kid cause apparently she set the ball into a bad positioning and that caused his daughter to miss the spike one. His kid is shit at the game too. I played volleyball for a long ass time and my mom sent me footage of the set. She set that ball beautifully for the small league she's in 3. They won the game, just be happy. The entire community is turned against him right now and the family of the girl is considering pressing charges, which I feel they should cause this guy has gotten close to crossing the line before and he needs to be reprimanded for his actions. Edit. A lot of you have commented about how he didn't get his ass beat at the game. No one had the chance because immediately realized he fucked up and ran out to his car. He drove away leaving his kid to be embarrassed and alone in a court full of people pissed at her dad. One of the nice moms gave her a ride back to her house where she spent the night. And on a happier note, I've just learned from my mom that charges are being pressed, and investigations into the living conditions in his house are being conducted. I'll update when the results come in. A pigeon got caught in the supermarket and it made front page of local news website with live updates. Our newly elected mayor, who is a school teacher as well, caused a head-on car crash injuring 2 small children in the other car. She was found to be drunk and it was 3:30 p.m. on a weekday. The kicker? She wasn't charged with a crime, as of yet, but she did resign after considerable thought. I left my small town years ago, but I was home over Thanksgiving and got an earful. The local grocery store was renovated, expanded after 30 years and now, everything's moved and you can't find nothing. I was home for 4 days and literally every new social interaction with people in town involved the goddamn grocery store and how awful it is now. Spoiler, it actually looks quite nice and they hang signs over the aisles telling you where things are. You know, like a grocery store. My small town includes a pretty large zoo and a tapir has recently escaped and is still at large. We think our prize manatee was killed instead of accidentally drowning. Our town's more medium than small, but whatever. A month or so ago, a couple high school gangs got into a huge mosh pit fight. About 6 months or so ago, a college student got arrested for beheading his mother. The scandal in my town is always the same. Someone is sleeping with someone else's husband. Or the 50-year-old dating the 18-year-old. Girlfriend works in a nursery in a medium-sized town. A knife-wielding intruder broke into the nursery and they had the entire building on lockdown. Thankfully nobody was hurt and the man was quickly apprehended. A couple months ago someone left their fire pit in their driveway for a few days. They received a mailed letter from an anonymous neighbor shaming them for making the neighborhood look bad. The recipient then posted the letter on the town's Facebook page. people ran with it and created the first annual front yard fire night. Nothing really, other than a few porch pirates. Someone did shoot at one of them, but no one was injured at least. Since then it stopped for now. There's no police station in town and the nearest one is a half-hour drive, so sometimes we have to take matters into our own hands. A substitute teacher at the high school started smoking a joint in class in front of students. Edit. Apparently it was some kind of weed pen, not an actual joint. Not really recent, but the owner of the petting zoo turned out to be a serial murderer and buried 2 corpses under the goat enclosure. A lot of kids volunteered there and walked over them unknowingly. He murdered the couple, and used their house, car and money. The school gym teacher was fired after being caught masturbating in the equipment room. He was caught by 2 students. A few days later, he killed himself. Everyone is a bit shaken up about it. Well, the latest scandal is that the local amphibians experts are too busy to look at our village pond this year. We only want to make sure we make it good for the wildlife, so now we're on the hunt for an amphibian expert. A married resource officer, aka cop that's at the school all day, messed around with a married teacher. Both had kids, the teacher was fired, and the cop was pulled off of that duty. Nothing that interesting in its own, but it's been the talk of the town for about a month. This is the same town where everyone stares at you if they don't recognize you. Dealt with that the first 2 to 3 years I lived here, just constant fucking stare zones lol. Population is less than 700. I hate small towns. Edit, words, thanks Google autocorrect. The biggest that I know of was a bully and overall bad guy from school that I sat next to in art class and tried to help, and it was arrested for murdering a 20-year-old girl during the drug deal. He was going to buy weed off her but decided to shoot her, later stating he wanted to know what it felt like to kill somebody. She didn't die right away, either. He and a buddy of his drove around for 2 hours in her car while she slowly suffered, and if they had taken her to a hospital she would have likely lived. He was 17 at the time, I believe. Was a couple years ago, but not much really happened here, thankfully. Someone stole a farmer's sheep yards and used them to make goat yards on another farmer's property, but then they were disturbed and the goats all escaped and no one knows who did it. Some frequent at a smooth high shop didn't pay. She said she'll be back and went across the street to her workplace. She never came back to pay. So the shop called the work to be like yo. So she had to do the walk of shame back to the smooth high place. Got heated on Facebook. The shop had to show security footage. Classic crazy Karen versus inexperienced business owner. Terrible heroin epidemic. Brother's best friend who was fairly close to our family overdosed a few days ago. My brother only has maybe 2 childhood friends left because of this. It's more of a village, but turns out the now 90-year-old teacher that everyone had as a teacher wasn't just really forgetful. Turns out she was in a car crash and got short-term memory loss. I found the town butcher drunk and passed out on the side of the road last weekend while I was walking my dogs at 3 a.m. Not really a scandal, but it was funny. Someone posted some kind of dynamite into a mailbox and it blew up. 5 years later they don't know who it is. Probably just teenagers being stupid. My dog keeps opening the gate latch, which releases my goats. They are eating people's trash and making a mess. Neighbors aren't happy with me. The police chief who everyone hates and has implemented a police state in our town, recently got made city planner too, in a behind closed doors vote. He's only been here for 3 years too. A local asshole has been taking people's money to do house repairs and not doing the work. Did it to an elderly lady in her 80s whose daughter is my mom's friend, and the daughter has been telling everyone, and now the asshole wants to sue her for defamation by telling the truth. Guy's as bad as his dad, who ran for mayor and lost badly because nobody liked him and was caught telling lies. Better than last year's scandal. Someone was breaking into seasonal homes and was eventually caught with the stuff, drugs, and firearms. A friend's girlfriend banged another dude and she managed to stuck her car in the snow next to this dude's house. Had to call a towing, and since it's a small town there's only one doing, who is my friend too.